Hello guys, how are we doing? Today's video is going to be a bit of a smashing one on Berlin Hardpoint, where I hope to showcase the best way to use an AR on the map. My bow cage AR strats was a very popular video on the channel, and a lot of you guys wanted more maps, so I thought, you know what? I had this gameplay in my archive. It's a little bit of an old one, which is why I'm in Elite. As you guys are probably aware that I'm currently in Master at the moment, but the gameplay in question here is, I was high level Elite. I think it was the top tier Elite essentially. But the teammates we've got here is Mercs and HS, one of which was a green gem, one of which is also Elite. And we're paired with a random fourth where we've got an unranked player. So we're trying to carry him for a dub, make sure he gets a win on his placement game, bless him. So yeah, let's get into the video. As I say, I'll go 46 and 20. The game itself, I think we get a pretty strong lead here. Once you get to this hard point, this hill first, it's pretty dominant. I think we had good spawns here. Yeah, let's get cracking into it. So, moving on to the P2 spawns here. I do want to emphasise actually before we get into my P2 specific sort of strats here. If you are playing as the main AR on the map, it is your responsibility to rotate to get, to do what you can to make sure that you get the first kills around the hill. To make sure that your teammates have the best opportunities to get into the hill. Yeah, so basically, as an AR, you want to be rotating consistently, as well as getting those first kills on the new hardpoint. So that's what I'm sort of trying to do here. I'm playing my life a little bit, and as you can see, similar to what I said in my bow cage video, I'm picking up subs where needs be because I want to be in the action and getting time without having to, losing gunfights just because I'm using an AR. I think he got weird spawns there. I'm not sure what happened there. So yeah, at the moment, I've noticed there's 15 seconds left. We get good spawns, so it's my responsibility to make sure that we keep these spawns and make sure that we, the enemy can't really touch the hill here. So I'm sort of watching this window. This is the only way they're going to be coming. If you guys aren't aware, if you're spawning here, they'll be spawning P1 sort of area. As long as someone's got the back spawn, you should be happy to go. Yeah, as I said, it's an old video. My shots weren't that great, and I think if I'm honest, this was one of my first games on for the day. But there we are. We're going B straight away like that. So yeah, this hill, this is a bit of an uncomfortable position because you can't really just chow because you've got an AR. So you've got to be playing for that intel, picking up kills where you can. And you know what? I had a feeling he'd be in that corner, so I just framed it, but he happened to be there. As you guys noticed, I didn't just full send because I didn't know where they were, because chances are, in a 50-50 situation, they're going to have subs in the hill. I'm going to be losing that gunfight 9 times out of 10, but we managed to get him anyway. Unfortunately, that table was there, so it made me feel a bit high. It put me a little bit higher than I actually was, but hey-ho, it is what it is. You'll notice that I have very loud footsteps, and that's because I am running fortified. I feel like on hardpoint and control, when you're using an AR, even a sub to be fair, and you have fortified on, well, you don't need ninja. Silent footsteps aren't an issue because you're shooting, you're visible to the enemies anyway, that sort of thing. So yeah, I feel like fortify is the must. Now I see a lot of ARs say that they don't need to be touching hill time, but I in fact think it is a good position to be doing so. I mean, right there, all the gunfights we're going to be having on the hill are going to be a fairly long range gunfight, so it makes more sense for the subs to sit in train or around the back somewhere, just so that, or in warehouse even, just so that they can take on those more suitable gunfights for them. Playing ARs mainly all about just making sure that you're challenging those medium to longer ranges rather than those short to medium ranges, because chances are if you're playing against a competent team, you're going to be losing those gunfights to a sub at those short to medium ranges. So it's trying to enhance your chances of winning every gunfight you're in by playing those longer angles right here. Now moving on to P5, if you're spawning in P1, they'll be spawning, well, I said P1, this side of that. Awful nade from me there. They'll be spawning in the warehouse if you're spawning in P1. So I'm sort of watching their push up, because this is a common way to push. They push up through P2, up the steps, get third story control. So I am really just sort of watching this angle right here. A good place for me to sit is right here. Every gunfight you take here, you will probably be long ranged. Yeah, I just choked it. Just choked it. So I'm very conscious there's 20 seconds left on the hill time. And throughout this whole P5 situation, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, right, we need to keep the spawns we've got because we do not want to be losing this P1. But I think they sent someone on the flank here, which may spawn us out. and it has spawned us out. So unfortunately, that's what's happened. However, we had a teammate there. I thought we had the setup, which is why I pushed through to P5, so that was probably my mistake. I probably should have rotated a little bit earlier. As I said, this is a relatively old gameplay, so I wasn't as refined as I currently am. So this is a nasty hill to break. This is a really tough hill to break from this side specifically. Yeah, this is definitely an old clip. Those shots were windy. Yeah, this is definitely a trickier hill to break, especially when they're fully set up in it, because all they need is an AR in a couple places on there. You know, and it's happy days for them. I don't know how he died. I literally had 4 bullets in the mag. I thought, you know, I just got to try something. See, right here, the better thing for me to have done is probably pulled out the sub that was on the floor, but hey ho, is what it is. So, as they're spawning in docks, this is a nice little area to be able to cut them off at. It stops them from touching it, but it does rely on your subs to be able to make the kills when they're in the hill. So I knew one was around the map, around the hill, because he was getting kills there, so I sort of wanted him to bait the hard point as such to make sure that, you know, I know when he's on the hill because it will go red, so I was just waiting for that. So I'm sort of wondering where they're spawning here. It turns out they're still spawning docks, which is unfortunate because it means that the next hill they will have the rotations for. This variant, by the way, this red laser beam variant. Ah, that guy nearly got smoked. Yeah, it's a weird one. That variant's a weird one. Let me know what you guys think about that, because it's sounds silenced, but it's not silenced. People say it seems to shoot straighter. You guys know the one it is. It's the one that shoots red lasers and, you know, sounds very quiet. So right now, we have a little bit of a different situation compared to what we were in before. Now my go-to strat is, if there's no one on the hill, which there wasn't when I started running here, if there's no one on the hill, full send front. That's the... Ah, bloody ammo! Bloody ammo! I should have picked up a gun. That was me being a bot there. Yeah, if there's no one on the hill, push front. If there is, I see so many teams make the mistake of pushing this constantly from this side, which is basically gives them, you know, free kills because you're just lining up for them. They've got you in a little funnel. It's not a good situation. So I know we didn't do it in this particular video, but if you are in that situation, always go through fire. Like, send a couple people front maybe, because otherwise, you know, they'll suspect people are going fire. But always go fire. So yeah, there's a good example right here of me getting the early rotation, getting that first kill to make sure we've got the map control in the back here. It's an important one to win, though. I must stress this. If you lose that gunfight, they will have close spawns, and that means you'll be spawning out. You'll be spawning in on this map. You'll be spawning train. It's just not the ideal situation.
HARDPOINT is ours. We're in the lead.
So from where my positioning is at the moment, I sort of was watching the whole cross. Ah, that guy unfortunately didn't stop shooting. So, it's a tied game. It's very bloody close. And we're moving into P5 at the end of the second round of rotations. And I'm struggling. I clearly was a bot. at this gameplay. But, so you're going to see me doing a similar thing. That guy must have got the most odd spawns right there. Now, looking back at this, in hindsight, it's very clear that we were pushing one at a time, which meant that the trades just weren't there. I probably should have waited for a teammate before I pushed onto the hill, and I think I do sort of a thing here. So, again, trying to get spawns for the next hill. I was conscious there was only 15 minutes, 15 minutes? Bloody hell, that'll be a long hill. 15 seconds left, so we rotate to P1. Hopefully get the early time. You know, while my teammates still apply pressure to P5. Got absolutely railed through the building there. Through the desks. So here, if you're playing an hour, you sort of either want to go to this outer sort of area here to pick up any people running up this side of the hill. But bear in mind, if they come up those close double doors from long haul, they will see you before you see them. It's a bit of a weird situation there. So you'd either watch this long area, or you'd sit on the hard point, watching down the upper bit of the long haul. As so, I think my teammate is absolutely huge here. Yeah, there it is, a lovely three-piece. So again, 10 seconds left. I'm aware they're already, because I've been shot there, I'm aware they're already sort of potentially on the hill. They're already trying to maintain map control on this new hill. And again, I'm just here. I'm trying to stay alive. I'm trying to do my part on this hill. Unfortunately, I don't get the kills, but my team managed to trade me out because I got on both weak, thankfully. And then there's the dub. So it's a very similar thing to bouquets. You want to be getting your rotations. You want to be playing those long lines of sights. And that's the important thing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.